Is Nigel Farage the true opposition to Labour, Paul?
Well, he could have been. Just been for a few more votes. Nigel Farage just 364,000 votes shy of becoming leader of the opposition, analysis shows.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. What Reform did at the general election is more impressive than we all originally thought. Them being only 364,000 votes, right, let's put that into context, they got 4 million votes, so only a little bit more, and they could have been the official leaders of the opposition. Brand new party, from scratch, barely any resources, barely any money, small team, had to pull it all together in a very quick fashion. They managed to get 4 million votes. That's incredible. But then to find out that they were only 346,000 away, of course, those votes would have had to have been in the right places, but that could have made them official leaders of the opposition. That is quite something.
So the insurgent right-wing party, by the way, that's the words of the Independent, not Paul Cox, won 14% of the votes but gained just 5 MPs due to the even spread of its support. The Conservatives won just 19% but gained 121 seats under the first past-the-post voting system. And another statistic was really revealing. While Labour's average votes per seat was 23,600, Reform's average was 821,000 per seat. The number.
Wow, okay. So for Labour to win one seat, they only need 23,000 votes. Reform, 821,000 votes to win one seat. I mean, if that isn't fair, I don't know what is. Honestly, I really feel like the electoral system has to change in some way, because there is just no way on earth that anyone can look at that and see a disparity between 23,000 votes to get a seat and nearly 1 million votes to get one seat and say that that's fair and say that that's democratic. Something has to change.
Crunching shows. So we've got this. This is just an extension of what we've been talking about: first past the post, proportional representation, percentage of the population. And Lewis and I could argue till the cows come home. But these are the peculiarities that make our electoral and democratic system frustrating.
This system, but it's the same every country in the world. You can't. It's not like a democracy the way we know it. I heard it explained, and I don't remember how it was explained. But it was this is the way it is. It just has said to people, the Tories are done, and next time you've got to vote for reform, or you got to say, you know what, we made a mistake, and we're going to make sure these Tories do what we want them to do.
And in the same way as you've got to hand it to Keir Starmer and Labour for winning, you've really got to hand it to Farage here. He's taken a party from nothing to 5 seats and just 365,000 votes away from being the actual official opposition in the United Kingdom.
I think that's huge.
That is actually incredible, right? Some people may be looking at this and thinking, they didn't quite beat the Tories on vote share. They didn't completely destroy the Tories and get more seats than them. Reform is still a small party and all of this. It's not that impressive. No. What they did is insanely impressive. If you compare the amount of resources, the amount of preparation that Reform had compared to the other established parties, it was tiny. What they managed to pull off with the limited resources that they have was incredible. And all that does is make me think, what are they capable of with more resources? So they will get, for example, a certain amount of funding for every 200 votes that they received at this general election. That's going to result in them getting about £5.5 million. That's quite a lot of money for them, and that could go a long way. And also, not just money-wise, but time-wise. They've got 5 years now to, well, unless a snap election is called sometime before that, but we'll see. They've got 5 years, potentially, to completely organise the party, to get candidates all vetted properly and prepared, in knowledge of their local area, ready to rock and roll for the next election. I think that what they could do at the next election could be quite seismic. Just just going back to what happened with the votes versus the seats, there were some interesting graphics that were posted by the Reform Party on their social media, which I think really just hit the point home that this system is not fair as it stands. Just take a look at this. Labour, 9.7 million votes they got. What did that translate to? 412 seats. Reform, 4 million votes. What does that translate to? Only 5 seats. So Labour get less than 2.5 times the number of the votes that Reform gets. But I'll tell you what 2.5 times 5 is. That's 12.5 seats. 412 is a heck of a lot bigger than 12.5. I'll tell you that. There is just no way on earth that anyone can consider that to be fair. Now, it wasn't just with Labour in comparison to Reform that we saw this big disparity. Let's take a look at the Tories. Again, similar story. 6.8 million votes, 121 seats. So the Tories got less than double the Reform vote. Okay, again, let's do some basic maths. Double 5 is 10. Tories should have less than 10 seats if this is a proportional system, if we compare it to Reform. But they've got more than 10 times 10 seats. They've got 121 seats. That is a load of garbage, and it is not fair, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Lib Dems. And I've got a few things to say about the Lib Dems. Same story again, but this time they've got even fewer votes than Reform. 3.5 million, and they get 72 seats. Reform, 5 seats with 4 million votes. I mean, every single party you compare it to on here, Reform are not doing well at all compared to the others, just because their vote share is spread out. Now, the campaign strategy for Reform versus the Lib Dems was very different. Let's just talk about the differences between these parties and how the Lib Dems were able to get so many more seats than Reform were, with even fewer votes than the Reform got. So, Reform's movement has come quite a lot from social media, which means that that support is spread out evenly throughout the country. That results in bugger all seats. The Lib Dems are very organised. Okay, they've been doing this stuff for years. They've been doing elections for years. They've been targeting seats for years. They have a lot of resources. They plan very effectively. They will decide exactly which seats they are going to target, and they will target all of their resources on specific seats. They will not evenly spread their resources across the countries. They will pick candidates early. They will get to know that local area and make sure their candidate knows that local area, exactly what issues are going on, exactly what the locals think very, very early on, so that they are ready to present themselves as good local MPs when it comes to the election. And hence, by being so targeted like that, and by having so many resources and being so organised like that, the Lib Dems were able to achieve what they achieved with fewer votes than Reform. But you know, we live in an era now where politics and who you vote for is not dictated by canvassers knocking on your door in your local area as much as it once used to be. Social media is big now, and that is going to play a big impact in the future on who we decide to vote for. But social media, it spreads evenly across the country, not just to one specific seat, but everywhere. And I don't think it's fair that just because a party's support is spread across the country rather than all in one little geographical location, that they should end up with way, way, way less power than the other parties. That to me just does not seem right. It does not sit well with me. Now, PR, it has its qualms, it has its problems. We also, let's be honest, PR, what flavour of PR do we want? There are a whole load of different versions of PR. We can look at different countries and see which versions they use and which ones work well, but that's a debate that needs to be had. I'll be honest, I don't know everything about all the different versions of PR that we could possibly have instead of what we've currently got. And I'm sure all the different types have their problems as well. But it's something that we need to start looking into. It's something we need to start having a debate about, because even if we don't go to a full-fledged typical PR system, just looking at those graphics there, looking at the disparity between votes and seats, it is absolutely astonishing. There is absolutely no way, if you ask me, that we can continue with the current system. I have to say, though, I don't know how Nigel Farage is going to do it. I don't know how he is going to get us to switch to PR, because even if he drums up a lot of support for PR amongst the public, Keir Starmer is the one in power. He is the one in office. Why on earth would Keir Starmer want to change our electoral system to PR when he has just got himself 412 seats with fewer votes than under Corbyn? And remember, Corbyn lost his election, right? So that is the big, big, big barrier that we face. It's Keir Starmer to changing our electoral system. Let me know in the comments below, do you think that there is a way that between now and the next general election that Nigel Farage would be able to change our electoral system to PR? Is that possible? And if so, how? Let me know in the comments.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.